What's up, comic book fans? Pete here from Comic Books Transformed, where me and my good friend Brian over there talk about comics that have been adapted into movies and streaming shows. Gen V is going strong right now on Amazon, and we are going to be talking about episodes 5 and 6. So, Brian, I don't know about you, but when we watch Gen V and then we don't record until we've watched like a couple of episodes, they all kind of start to blur together. Does that happen with you?
Yeah, they absolutely blur together, especially when I'm watching them back to back or binging them. Which again, we've said this plenty of times before. We absolutely prefer the week to week thing, and Amazon does do that, with the exception of the first 3, I think. So it was 3 episodes, then 1 like that. So I absolutely wish we could have stayed on a better schedule, but stuff gets in the way.
Yeah. Well, and it's fine. Actually, I'm starting to like this show more and more as it keeps going on. And
Go ahead. No, you go.
No, in our previous recording, I said that there was too much of a reminder of like the real world and just the way that our country is so divided and just the way that people view things in social media. It's all this negative stuff. But then in these last 2 episodes, I feel like they didn't show that as much. I felt like they focused more on like the plot and the character interactions. What do you think?
Yes, I 100% agree with that. And I'm starting, I'm really appreciating the show more, is that it really does feel like an X-Men sort of show in the boys universe.
Mm-hmm.
More so than I feel than the comic version of this arc did, which has absolutely nothing to do with this, other than maybe some of the character names and all that, like Thomas Clark and all that. But like it almost kind of feels like Riot at Xavier's in a way.
Yeah.
And I kind of dig that a lot.
Yes. I'm so glad that you brought that up because our show is called Comic Books Transformed. I think a lot of times we just kind of focus on the adaptations and we don't reference the comics as much. But you have such a knowledge of the boys comic, and then to compare it to the X-Men, I actually was thinking that when I was watching these last 2 episodes, I was like, yeah, Brian said this is like an X-Men show, but just like really perverted and
it's about a really perverted X-Men show. Yes.
Right. It's funny though, because I think of other things too, and they're not comics, unfortunately. Kind of doesn't tie into my point I was making, but like I was thinking about the show Heroes. Did you watch that show?
Yeah, I watched the first 2, maybe. I didn't finish the show. I watched maybe the first 2, maybe 3 seasons, but I dropped off because that second season was not great. That was during that big writer strike, so it suffered quite a bit. But that first season was great TV.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you call it? It reminded me of Heroes because I remember them like all being captured at one point by humans and like being in like they might have even had those like collars on that they had in episode 5. Oh no, that was in episode 6 where they end up in that horrible soup prison.
Yeah, Elmira.
Yeah, and it just kind of reminded me of Heroes, and I mean we've seen the X-Men like that so many times too, where they have some kind of like power canceling collars on, but like those collars they're wearing, they don't cancel their powers, right? They're just like explosive collars, right?
No, they do dampen their powers in some way. So there's some like sonic aspect that somehow dampens powers, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think it does something with that. So like it doesn't completely turn them off, but it's very difficult for them to use their powers with it on.
Yeah. Well, just like in our 300th episode, which just passed, which Brian and I covered the season finale of Peacemaker in our 300th episode, I just totally fucking lost my point I was going to make. God damn.
Well, they didn't really college that, but now I'm also thinking, now you said 300th episode, maybe we should have covered 300.
Oh, that would have been fun, except I don't really like that movie, and I like what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, I do too.
But, god damn. What was I going to say, though? Like,
we were talking about the collars and how somehow related something in the season finale of Peacemaker.
Yes. Well, I have no idea how the fuck this ties into Peacemaker, but I know that I was going to talk about how, like, there's these little details that are really interesting that I wish they could kind of go into more depth about. Because they were talking about how, like, Marie, for instance, she had, like, blood. Like, they gave her this thing where, like, her blood wouldn't clot, and... Yeah. It was interesting to me somehow this somehow this fucking ties into Peacemaker. I don't know how. If you could tie this into Peacemaker, I'm going to be very proud of you. But like, they essentially had all these people incarcerated, and I was kind of wondering, like, how do they have them all incarcerated with their powers? And then, like, if they can essentially negate the powers of a soup, then, you know, like, why couldn't they do that to Homelander? And actually, I remember now. You're going to answer my question, but I remember now why I'm thinking about this, because in the Peacemaker review, we jumped around a lot, and so I'm jumping around a lot in this review now too.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I think maybe that these collars are, like I said, they're using some kind of sonic method of dampening their powers. Maybe it doesn't work on Peacemaker, on Homelander. Sorry.
See, I'm fucking us up. I'm sorry.
Damn you,
yeah.
Pete. I think that maybe it won't work on Homelander, or it's just too hard to get to Homelander to put a collar on him.
Yeah.
You know, because he is very strong.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's like getting him into that kind of subdued point where they could do that to him. You wouldn't be able to. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. All right. Well, so that's in the 6th episode where they're in the Elmira place and they escape. That happens in the very beginning of the episode. The 5th episode is the one where Marie has to fight. What's the girlfriend's / boyfriend's name?
Oh my God, I don't remember now either.
Man, we are off to an awesome start tonight. It's a gender neutral name, right? Jordan. Right. Okay. Right, but they have to fight by the end of that episode, right? And then that's 5. And then
they have the fight at the end of the 4th episode, and the 5th episode starts right at the aftermath of that, because Cypher was controlling Jordan, and Marie was using her powers, and it almost sort of killed Jordan in the process, but it didn't.
Okay. Yes, you gotta love this quality content of these two middle-aged men being like, I think this happened in this show that we're reviewing, you know?
What are notes?
Yeah. We used to do notes, but it's all on the fly now. Okay. So like episode 5 is the fallout from that. And we learn a little bit more about Cypher. Actually, we get another boys cameo in episode 5, which I was actually excited because I realized they're just sort of like peppering this season with boys cameos.
Yes, we had Starlight earlier on there. Then we get Sister Sage, and then we get Stan Edgar and Zoe.
Right. So they're in episode 6. And episode 5 is the one with Sister Sage.
Sister Sage, yeah, and we see that she's having a relationship with Cypher, in front of the creepy burn dude, which I guess is Thomas Godolkin. It's not his dad, it's Thomas Godolkin, which is super weird.
Right.
And you know, we again, the show has to show lots of dicks.
Right.
You see a real shriveled up old man dick.
Yes.
All that, because you can't.
And I was so happy. And I was so happy because usually I have to pay my OnlyFans account to see that kind of content, but Amazon was just giving it for free, you know?
Yeah, you just got to give it. Oh, no, we're paying Jeff Bezos for it too. So, I mean.
Yes. Give us those shriveled old man dicks. But Cypher beats his shriveled dick, host or whatever. Well, he's not the host. Like, I'm assuming that Cypher, you're saying it's Godolkin. I'm assuming that is the source body, and then he's controlling Cypher's body. And then I guess
that's what I thought, and I don't think that's the case actually. I think he's literally helpless, but he has this information in his head, and he's keeping him alive until he can get it out and make use of it. Because he probably can't communicate, I guess. He might literally be a vegetable. I don't quite understand how Marie's. I mean, I guess is the idea Marie is going to heal him so he can speak and they can learn whatever he knows about stopping Soups and potentially stopping Homelander.
Yeah.
Oh no, they don't want to stop Homelander. He wants to cull the weak soup population. So
yes.
So again, more like kind of like Nazis, but superheroes.
Brian, it's kind of like Apocalypse, you know?
Yes, there you go. That's okay.
You're making this X-Men comparison, and it's like Apocalypse.
God damn it! I You mentioned Peacemaker so many times that I had that in my brain now.
Yes. Well, yeah, you were thinking about Nazis when you were thinking about DC, and now we're thinking about Apocalypse with
Absolutely
Marvel.
perfect
Right.
analogy for the Apocalypse there. Yes.
See, okay, but Brian, here's the thing. I kind of disagree with you. I think that it really is Godolkin has that power to control people's bodies, and I guess that power like extends from body to body. Because I feel like that shot where Sister Sage is having sex with Cypher and the old man with the shriveled dick is just staring at them. I feel like that's like he's looking at himself. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. And then the fact that Marie doesn't sense any V in his blood, although I'm not sure if that's still a true statement or not. And the fact that Cypher was controlling Jordan, but seemed to be very strained doing it. So it seems like there is some kind of limit going from body to another body like that. So it is a very plausible idea. But I'm the fact that he was hitting him made me question it. Like, why would he be hitting himself?
Right, but that's the thing is that I feel like that's just more confirmation because he's mad at himself. He's mad at himself that he's in this horrible state and like where he is in his plan, and so he's like just beating himself up. That's the way I took that.
Maybe you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you're more of an expert on The Boys than I am, and The Boys comic. So it could go either way. How many episodes are left in this season?
2. We have 2 more episodes.
Jesus Christ, they fly through these fucking things.
Yeah, well, these like I said, started with 3, and then there's only been 4 weeks, 3 weeks since then.
Okay, good point. So let's talk about what happens in that 5th episode. So there's that fallout. They go into Cypher's house. That happens in that episode, right?
No, they go to Cypher's house earlier on here. So this whole episode is they're from that scene with the fight there. Kate is then sent back to Elmira as kind of like hey, we know what the fuck you're doing here, and we got to punish somebody. So it's gonna be Kate here because Cypher is ultimately trying to win Marie over onto his side because he needs her. And then the whole episode is about plotting how to get Kate out, or if they should get Kate out, and how they should do it. So they go over the whole plan about how they escaped, and then they kind of retreaded about how Marie left them behind and all that. Initially, and that's kind of it. They kind of get the plan together, and then it's immediately foiled and they're captured. And then the end of the episode 5 is them all waking up in the prison.
Okay, all right. So you remember what you're talking about? Yeah. I mean, did we talk about the guard fucking the gnome in the last video we did? I
don't think so. Yeah, because that's Kate using her powers. It's all fucked up, and she uses them again here, and she asked them to undo the cuffs and let them go and give him the key. And he says, sure, and then stabs himself in the eye with the key. So
yes.
Usually it's something more sexual that happens, but this wasn't.
Yeah, I got the guy fucked his eye with a key, I guess.
I guess, yeah. Speaking of weird sexual things and the whole X-Men thing we're talking about, did we ever even talk about the bounty hunter guy, Dognot? That's basically the Boys Wolverine.
No, we didn't. I
don't know how I skipped over that.
we can totally talk about that. I want to just make a joke real quick because I realize how we're talking right now, and I also realize that like my Pete on the Street question videos get posted on my Facebook, and I'm like, check out Comic Books Transformed. And so like my mom or like, an aunt or somebody could be watching this video right now. And I literally just said, this guy fucked his eye with a key.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the show is, if you're watching something about this show, you had to have watched something before and you know how graphic the show can be.
Yes, that is true.
Also, just going back to Dognot, the Wolverine allegory, he makes a joke about a dog being a bitch for not looking in his direction, insinuating that he had sex with dogs. So I mean, like this show is there's no stone left unturned here, really.
Yes.
I mean, last episode we saw a man sit on the toilet.
Yes. It's God. Yeah, that we saw that space so clearly. I don't think I've ever seen that space so clearly examined.
I don't think I've ever seen that space, period.
On yourself, right? Nice. Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, we're talking about the balls and fucking with keys. Let's go back to this Dognot guy. So, he lives though, right? And he just kind of tracks them down, and they pin the blame for Kate's attack on those Starlighter people.
Yes, yeah, I think he's still alive there. It's funny too because like I'm pretty sure he's nonverbal in the comic. Like like he might even be on a leash in the comic.
Probably. Yeah.
So it was interesting, but the second time I'm like, oh god, that's Wolverine.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So then, if that guy's Wolverine, is the fucking guy with the hammer supposed to be Thor?
Maybe. Well, no. Thor is Stormfront.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like maybe he's like Executioner or something, or maybe you can argue it's Juggernaut. I don't know.
Or like Hercules or something.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, he's a Viking though. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, we'll talk about him more in episode 6, but let's talk about episode 5. So, in episode 5, one other detail that's really important is that we go into what's the name of the guy that like his brother fucking blew himself up in the Ben
Sam.
Is his name? Sam. Thank you. Well, you said Sam, right?
SAM, yeah.
Quality production here, saying basic one-syllable words at this point, making sure we got them across. But so Sam, so then what do you call it? Sam, we see him go back home, and he's meeting with his mom because he doesn't have Kate to turn off his thoughts. So he goes to meet. He goes to see his parents. He says some really inappropriate things to his parents. At one point, we find out that he would masturbate to a Queen Maeve like puppet.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that was weird because it's like they only had stuff when he was a baby, but they also had that. So
yeah,
I was under the impression he was in that that what do they call it, the trees or something for like
yeah,
and then maybe he actually was.
Yeah. So like watching that, I was kind of like, oh, is this filler? I don't know if I really like this character. I don't know if I want to see this. But then his sort of character turn from him being with his parents to then what he does in the next episode, it kind of validated that episode, and it made me like him more too. But I mean, I thought he fucking murdered his dad at one point too.
Yeah, he pushed him away. Yeah, you probably hurt him pretty bad there. I mean, they were both very clearly scared of him.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, when you see them turn away, you see like the look of concern on their faces there. So they very much felt like hostages in their own home. But yeah, he does have sort of he was, when he was being under the influence of Kate's powers and trying to live like a normal quote unquote college life, he was much more of a dick, and he does seem to be coming out of it there. And I don't know, like he kind of like ran away when he started seeing the puppets again, and I don't quite understand what changed there for him to not see the puppets other than talking with his parents. I don't know, maybe some internal resolution there triggered that, but I do feel like there was a little light on explanation with that. And but you could see that they were clearly setting him up to go help after he initially turns him down, helping break Elmira, and then he does change his mind and come save them afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I actually really got excited when he showed up because I wasn't expecting him to show up in episode 6.
Yeah.
And the lead up to him bursting through the wall, like they say like Kool-Aid Man, was that you have Marie's sister, and she's apparently been Cypher's prisoner. And then what happens is this crazy fucking scene where Marie's sister has her throat cut, and then Marie uses the blood from her friends to essentially give her a blood transfusion to bring her back to life. That was actually a really crazy scene.
Yeah, it was, especially when you think about it in the context of it, that it was all set up by Cypher in order to provoke an emotion out of Marie to enhance her powers, because that's what seems to those intense situations when it comes out. But yeah, they essentially got out and they're starting to run away, and there's no guards, no one else in the cells, just the sister, and the sister's laying there dead. And Marie you can tell that while she's kind of resurrecting her sister in a way, that everyone else is feeling the effects of this too. So it's kind of like a dangerous power to be using. Because it affects everyone in the room rather than just what she's focusing on.
It's interesting because like this show does get creative in different ways, that you're not expecting. And I like the fact that because their blood had V in it, it kind of gave her powers. She had these sort of like precog powers.
Yes, yes.
You know, so they all escape. They go to this like real trashy apartment, and then that Viking guy shows up. Oh, well, I mean, okay. All right, here's the thing. Full disclosure, right? I'll admit that, like, I was kind of doing some stuff while I was watching episode 6. There's one part, we're kind of jumping ahead, but I need your clarification. There's one part where Marie looks up and she sees something and she's bothered by it, and that makes her leave the safe house that she was in. What did she see?
I remember her leaving.
Like,
I don't think it was anything she saw. I think it was kind of like a realization.
But okay, so what's the realization though?
That she, I don't know.
like there wasn't some kind of shot. Oh,
maybe
what?
She's to stop Cypher ultimately.
Okay. So it wasn't a scene of like Jordan getting it on with like her sister or something?
No, nothing like that. No.
Okay. Because I just remember like seeing her kind of look up and have this kind of face, and then she goes to leave, and I'm like, what is she seeing? You're claiming it's a realization. It's not like she saw Jordan cheating on her.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's anything. I don't think she left in a huff or anything like that. She just maybe it was just biding her time till everyone was asleep, and she walked out because she didn't want to burden anybody else with this whatever she's going to go do, which I imagine is confront Cypher.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it seems like when she does go there, she ends up putting all her friends in danger, and she doesn't want to do that, which is a very typical hero trope we see in a lot of things.
Yeah, especially this kind of like chosen one hero trope. Oops.
Yes.
So like, I was gonna say that to get to that point, though, we have to talk about how Stan Edgar shows up. So that Viking guy is just like beating the shit out of our heroes who have escaped from Elmira, and then this girl shows up, and I didn't recognize her from the boys right away, and I knew like the moment when he was like, "What's that?"
She looks a bit older, yeah. So.
Yeah, and so he goes like, "Get out of here! It's going to get messy." And I knew like the moment he did that, I was like, "Oh, she's going to do some kind of horrific, violent thing." And then of course she does. These fucking like snake things come out of her face and just like rip his head to pieces, man. It's fucking crazy.
Yes, yeah.
But satisfying, you know, because I hated that guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then so essentially Stan Edgar is talking about how he was looking for her, and he fills in a lot of like background information, like his connection to Godolkin. He's the one that reveals that point that you made before, where it's like he was almost going for like a super of the soups kind of race, you know, like the most powerful. So, I mean, I love seeing Giancarlo Esposito in anything. So I was like, oh, okay, he's in it. Do you feel like there's too many boys cameos in this show?
No, I think it gives a good. Honestly, it feels like there should be more. It should be more connected than it is. But this makes sense here. So, Stan Edgar was ousted from Vought. He obviously has a vendetta against Homelander. He probably wants his company back, and he wants his status quo back. And I think maybe this is what set Marie off. Actually, is that when he finds out that Thomas Godolkin is still alive in that body, that he thinks that's his salvation to getting rid of Homelander rather than Maria's, because he saved them because he thought Marie could help them against Homelander. But now he thinks that there's some knowledge locked in Godolkin's head that he'd prefer to go after that. So maybe that's what spurs Marie to go off.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that could be it. You might have figured it out there. Like, do you think he's doing any kind of malicious thing that we don't know about? Like, is there some kind of secret plan that he has? Or do you think it's like he's being real straightforward?
Well, it's interesting because when he's making them breakfast, I believe, somebody says like, oh, this is exactly out of the Vought playbook. You give them something food, make them feel good about themselves, and you kind of pull the rug out from under them. He's very clear that he only wants Marie. He doesn't care about anybody else. So I don't think there's anything necessarily malicious there, but I don't think he necessarily cares about them either.
Yeah.
He was just being kind to all of them to get on Marie's good side. But now that he doesn't need Marie, I don't necessarily think he's going to kill them or do anything to them. But I don't think they're going to be able to stay there for very long.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. And the kind of the inverse of that's really interesting too, because there's a part where Cypher wants them hunted down, and he basically says, "I just need Marie. It doesn't matter what happens to the rest of them." You
Yeah.
know, so it's like he doesn't even care about like the kind of PR stuff with Jordan or with the other characters.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to him. I mean, his plan is to essentially eliminate 75% of the student population in the college. So I don't think he cares what happens to a few people. That he'll spin it however he needs to.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, like I'm just trying to think of anything else that was worth talking about in these two episodes.
No, I think we covered all the main points here, really. And I don't. I guess we're heading for a showdown with
Cypher and
Cypher and Godolkin here. I don't know how it's going to end, though. I don't know if this will be the final season of Gen V, if there will still be a reason to have content post The Boys season 5. Wait,
yeah,
is it
yeah,
5? Yeah, 5 is the final season.
it's 5. Yeah, yeah,
I
I guess we'll see.
And
Go ahead. What?
There'll also be the prequel show of the Soldier Boy and Payback show. We'll have that.
Oh,
Like I feel pretty confident that that'll go on a season or two, maybe. But
yeah,
this show, without the threat of Homelander there, and then I guess I don't know how they could rehash the God You again a third time for this. So I am sort of feeling like this is it for this show, and maybe we'll see characters cameo in The Boys season 5, and that's it.
Yeah, I'd have to say it's probably the same. Like I think they'll probably use Marie as some sort of like weapon in the last season of The Boys, and maybe that'll give the main characters an edge. They'll probably like kill her off. I don't know, maybe not. You know, but
the point is that the people like can we say that everyone watching The Boys is watching this, and is it fair to viewers of that show to have a payoff be in an ancillary show where
exactly
where they have no idea what the fuck's going on?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I guess we'll see. There's still 2 episodes left of this show, and then we have The Boys season 5 eventually down the road too. You know, there was actually a lot of stuff revealed for Comic-Con, and you and I haven't talked about it personally, but we can talk about it on this show as well. You know, maybe we could do that in our next episode.
Yeah, definitely could. Yeah.
Cool, man. All right. Well, then that's it for Gen V episodes 5 and 6. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you stayed all the way to the end, if you want to subscribe, that'd be even better. And if you want to give us a like, we'd love that as well. But otherwise, we will be here next time, and we'll probably be talking about dicks. So looking forward to it.